Friends, I usually start these drushes by saying I hope everybody is doing great, but life is giving me less reasons to make that statement. So I'm just going to hope that just as God put words in Bilam's donkey's mouth, he'll put them in my mouth. Crazy world collapsing around us. There's just been one tragedy after another. The ravages of COVID, Hamas rockets in Israel, a fatal stampede in Israel, a bleacher collapse in Israel, a cable car crashing in Italy with Israeli victims and casualties, escalating anti-Semitism, and now a building implodes in Florida, in the United States of America, not in a war zone, not in a third world country. A building implodes in Florida with so many Jewish casualties and I fear fatalities inside. And I see a string of events that are shaped like a noose. And my dear fellow Jews, it is our neck that is the guest of dishonor. I know we're all heartsick over the Surfside collapse. We're all glued to the television, and I keep hearing the phrase, search and rescue. And with all my heart, I'm praying for more miracles than we as a nation deserve. But before the noose constricts even further, I implore you, please, to initiate a personal search and rescue. Look for the dying Jew inside of you and rescue him now, before it's too late. Whatever conspiracy theory we are harboring about this current catastrophe, there is one certainty with no shadows, and that's the veracity of the Torah. When we violate it, God tells us he will pound us. How much more dust and ashes do we need to witness before we believe him? The Talmud teaches there is a tripartite scaffold that holds up the entire world, never mind bleachers and buildings. And they are the Torah, prayer, and loving kindness. Now let's be raw and real here, and let me bridge the stretch you think that I'm making. If people would be honest and keep the commandments, then they wouldn't take bribes. Building inspectors wouldn't close their eyes to violations, and developers wouldn't take risks for profit. And that's just the practical aspect of keeping God's laws. Then there's divine intervention, with which one well-placed nail could keep up a whole house standing. Look at Israel, a country surrounded by anti-Semites, enemies, the UN. Zero chance of survival by any logical or practical means. And yet she thrives and survives. So how many of us have said, I would believe in God if I saw a miracle? Well, look at Israel, because there's your miracle. We must begin search and rescue now and stop waiting for tragedies for us to ask, what does God want from us? He already told us. He gave us his book filled with rules and directives. It's there in black and white. Yet we are more inclined to believe the print in People magazine or the National Enquirer than God's own word. After all, too many rules, it's inconvenient. There must be a quicker fix to happiness and good fortune than that big, burdensome book. And yet, my dear friends, all those quick fixes, those golden calves, they're destroying us. You cannot put a band-aid on cancer. As we watch this horror unfold and dread the passing of hours because not enough people are being found alive, we call for community prayer. And my question to you is why? Why bother? What's my prayer going to do to help somebody who's under a building right now? That seems a little irrational, a little illogical, and highly unpractical. So why? Because we believe that we can help each other in that intangible realm of existence where the Almighty hears us and cares what we say and do and pray for and beg for. So let's hold that truth close every day as we acknowledge that what we do does matter to him, or we wouldn't be praying. And we have to understand that we are all responsible for one another. Your sin can affect me and my sin will affect you. Kol Yisrael Aravim Zeh Lazeh. In this week's Bible reading, we see how King Balak sought out Bilam, who was known to be a great curser. So he wanted him to curse the Jewish people. He had powers to do so. But he was unable to curse them. Why? Because the Jewish nation was behaving properly. How goodly are your tents, O Jacob, your dwelling places, O Israel. The Israelites left no void or crevice for curses to sneak in, like an open wound accommodating infection. They were impervious to any harm because they didn't open the door to Satan with such stupid, insipid questions as, what does God want from us? He told us, you got the memo, read it. And as such, we read in this week's parasha, those who curse them will be cursed, and the haters will drown in the depth of their hate. Because God knows what we're doing, and He cares what we're doing. And I'll never forget in a previous war that Israel had with Hamas. And a Hamas member was so disappointed, and he complained, and he told the media, their God changes the path of our rockets midair. A Hamas enemy knows that, and we ourselves don't see the hand of God in our life for the good and for the bad. Kabbalists teach that each act we do creates an angel, either one that serves as our advocate or as our prosecutor, depending on what we did. And so the question is, what kind of army of angels are you building for yourself and for our nation? Good ones or bad ones? When threat comes your way, will your own army deservingly stab you in the back? Or will it stand as a loyal protector for you, for your family, and for our nation, and escort us safely from strength to strength? The irony does not escape me that rockets bomb Tel Aviv and a building filled with Jews collapses in Florida. My friends, Torah is the Iron Dome. And as sugary and sweet as we think we are, until we do what God wants, we are not safe anywhere. May God bless the families and the people who perished in this, and may we find survivors, and the best possible outcome, I hope, will come from this in every sense. And God forgive us, have mercy on us, have patience with us. But come on, friends and my fellow Jews, get busy being better Jews, because open your eyes. I mean, time is running out.